Hey, welcome back. Today we're making a rice dish, a fragrant parsnip pilaf, and basically it is just really beautifully flavoured rice that we can serve alongside curries and dhals and things like that. What we're going to do is saute up a whole lot of ingredients with really big flavours like onions and garlic and ginger, and bring in a whole lot of spices, and we're going to create a base, a flavour base for our rice. Then the rice goes in, we're going to add some stock, a couple of other ingredients, and the whole lot is going to infuse with flavour as it cooks. We are going to use as our main vegetable ingredient, we're going to use some parsnips, and we've got some incredible parsnips from the garden. I will just grab them and show them to you. Now look at these amazing vegetables. They are not what you'd find in the shop. Kerry harvested these from the garden just before, and she did say to me, are you sure you want to use them? Like, they're so big and they're all damaged, but we can use them, and ideally we don't want to waste anything that we can use. We just might have to think a little bit differently about how we prepare them. We've got some amazing shapes going on here, and this one's here, and interestingly this one has been nibbled by some kind of little bug in the garden, maybe like a little, I don't know, caterpillar or worm or something like that. I don't know, we'd have to ask Kerry. But something interesting that happens with plants when they're being attacked is they develop all these natural defences to try and repel whatever is attacking them. And what it does is it actually, those compounds are really good for us when we eat them. So that's another reason why we don't want to waste something or throw it away just because it's a little bit damaged. So we'll prepare those in a moment, but first of all we're going to get started on our garlic, ginger and onion. Okay, let's just dice an onion. We just want a fairly fine dice. A couple of cloves of garlic. I just like to chop the end off that holds all the papery covering on. Squash it down with the blade of the knife, being careful of the sharp edge, of course, and then finely chop. Wow, those onions are really getting my eyes today. I'm going to just pop them out of the way while we prepare the ginger. Okay, for the ginger, you might have seen me do this before. I like to use a teaspoon and just scrape the peel away with the edge of it. I find it's a really easy way to remove the peel without losing any of the ginger underneath. Okay, once all the peel's away, we can grate it. I'm going to use a microplane, but you could chop it if you prefer to do that. Okay, now let's tackle this parsnip. I think I'm just going to start with this one big one and see what we can get out of it. We could find, once I chop into it, that the core might be really woody and not so great to use, but there's only one way to find out. Okay, it actually looks pretty good. We've got a lot, I'm not sure if you can see this. That's the core, that little ring in the centre. But all of this flesh around the outside is going to be great. Because this is really gnarly, if a parsnip was younger and a little bit more smooth, I'd just give it a scrub. I wouldn't even peel it. And this one I'm actually going to peel using a knife because I need to take a little bit more, and a regular vegetable peeler probably won't take enough. Feel that some of that core was a bit woody, so I'm just going to chop that away. And dice the good bits. I'm going to pop them into a bowl and then wash them again afterwards, because when a vegetable is, got so many little bits and pieces like that, little nooks and crannies, it's hard to really wash it properly the first time, so we'll give it an extra wash to make sure we've got no grit or dirt in there. Okay, we'll try this big bit now. It's actually surprisingly easy to cut through considering how gnarly it all is. So I think and it smells amazing. I've got a beautiful fragrance coming up. So I think it's going to be really delicious. Again, there's that core. Let's just cut around that. There we go. Look at all that beautiful parsnip that otherwise would have gone to waste. I'm just going to give it a wash and then we'll start cooking up our pilaf. Okay, we'll get started on the rice. Now I'm using a large fry pan. Any heavy based pan will do, but you do need a lid that's going to fit very well. Okay, when you've heated your pan to about a medium heat, just add a little splash of water. And we'll start off the onions and garlic. Just cook them down gently until the onions are starting to look translucent or a little bit clear. If you find the pan drying off a little bit and the onions starting to catch against the bottom, just add a little splash more water. Just a drop. These are starting to look good. You see they're looking a bit softened now. So I'm going to bring in the parsnip and cook that through for a few minutes. Alright, let's bring in our ginger and our spices. We've got turmeric and cloves, and we've got a cinnamon stick, some star anise, and a few cardamom pods. Add another splash of water if you need to, if you find it's getting stuck to the bottom, just so that you can keep everything moving nice and smoothly in the pot. Now it's time to bring in the rice. 2.5 cups of brown basmati. And stir that through and allow it to warm before we add our stock. Now I'm going to put in some sultanas. I know it seems like a strange thing to put into a savoury rice dish, but the little bit of sweetness that they bring is really appealing in the finished result. And 4 cups of vegetable stock. Now we just want to stir this all through, make sure it's really well mixed and incorporated, and then we want to bring it to the boil and then turn it down to the lowest simmer we can. We'll pop the lid on. So I'll just wait till that's really just about to boil. I'm starting to get a few bubbles here, so I'm actually going to move it to the back hot plate, the back burner, because I can't get this big one at the front low enough. And now I just want to put the lid on and cook it for about 18 to 20 minutes. Try and avoid taking the lid off throughout the cooking process because we really want all of that liquid to be absorbed into the rice. So about 18 minutes has passed. I'm going to have a little check now and see how it's going. Okay, it's looking great. Now the way to check whether it's ready is to give it a little tip and see if there's any liquid pooling at the bottom. There is still a little bit, so I'm going to give it about another 2 or 3 minutes. That should do it. Let's have another look. Yep, looking much better. So we'll just stir through our peas. Pop the lid back on and just let it sit for another 5 minutes and then you're ready to serve. There you go. That's how simple it is to make a beautiful fragrant parsnip pilaf, and it will be so delicious when you serve it alongside curries and rice and dhal, and we've managed to save some ugly veg in the process.